Good afternoon, CUBE community, and welcome back to Las Vegas, Nevada. We're here coming to the conclusion of day 2 of our 3 days of live coverage at Google Cloud Next. My name is Savannah Peterson, bringing you all the sweetest stories from the show floor with Dave Vellante all week. Dave, you've got some history with one of the companies that we have on next.
I was just texting with a colleague of mine, Crawford Del Pret. He's the president of IDC, and he says, I'm on my way to Tokyo from here. And I had flashbacks of Odawara.
Wow.
Where
Well,
Hitachi has a factory.
I'm glad we could take you on a little mental vacation.
Mount Fuji in the background, beautiful.
Yeah. I love that. I'm not sure we're going to be talking about Mount Fuji on this segment, but maybe we will. Maybe these two can integrate it in. Please welcome Sheila and Srini. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Really appreciate it. Sheila, I'm going to start with you. Give us a little bit of the lay of the land. Talk to us about Hitachi Vantara and how that, and what you're working on, how that fits into the ecosystem. Yeah.
Sure. No. First of all, I'm glad to be here. So Hitachi Vantara is transforming the way data is used for innovation through data storage and infrastructure. And that also includes cloud management and digital expertise. And it's not just about the data. It's about how you use the data. And we provide solutions for our businesses to put that data to work and into a competitive advantage, enabling smarter decisions, AI-driven insights and operational efficiencies, while also optimizing hybrid cloud environments, making sure that data is always available, and of course, while driving sustainability.
Nice. Wow. That's a lot. Okay, so Srini, I'm going to ask you then, what's going on at GlobalLogic? I can imagine you're having a lot of conversations about AI. It sounds like you guys are working together. You mentioned you're bonding with his team this week, which is very fun. So yeah, give us the high-level overview.
So let me first start with a little bit about GlobalLogic and really where do we fit in along with Hitachi Vantara into Hitachi.
Please.
So both of us are part of Hitachi DSS, which is Digital Systems and Services, which is the umbrella organization that provides pretty much end-to-end digital and technology services capabilities, everything from infrastructure to enterprise to cloud to even OT. And really where we're uniquely positioned within Hitachi is, along with our other sister companies, we're probably one of the unique entities to really provide the full suite of IT, OT, and product. Not a lot of companies are able to actually do that or claim to be able to actually do that. So to your question about where GlobalLogic fits in and what are we doing, GlobalLogic essentially is a company that actually designs intelligent products and services for our clients, right? And we do that with capabilities in 3 areas, which is engineering, design, and data. So the core of what we do is software product engineering. We actually build products for the vast number of tech ISVs, and also we build software products for a large number of industries that are getting software defined. Think about software that powers your advanced driver assistance system in your vehicle. Think about software that actually optimizes network traffic on network management devices. Think about life-saving software that actually goes into medtech devices, such as defibrillators that actually, in some cases save patients' lives. We do a lot of that stuff. And I think along with Hitachi, we're actually powering industrial as well. So the whole opportunity around digitizing the industrial sector, where we, along with Vantara and some of the other companies which are part of Hitachi DSS, we're helping accelerate that.
Hitachi, massive global company.
Yeah.
The pendulum in our industry is always swinging. Swung to cloud, now we swing back to hybrid. I mean, it's always been hybrid, but bringing AI to the data, people not necessarily going to put all their data into the cloud. Even at the keynote yesterday, we heard that. It was good to see Google leaning into that.
It was.
At the same time, we have this other dimension. There's the Z dimension, which is industrial. Again, something that Hitachi knows a lot about. And you're one of the few companies, as you just said, Srini, that actually has a perspective on those worlds. How should we think about that? Are those worlds coming together? Are they largely distinct worlds where the IT and the OT world, yes, they're coming together and there's, from a standpoint of technology is going, or are those worlds colliding? How should we think about that from a product and service and engineering and software standpoint?
There's a lot to unpack there. So you talked about hybrid, and I'm going to have Sheila talk about that as part of this segment. We talked about AI, certainly want to dig into AI at some point, but specifically to answer your question on how these things are coming together, really if you think about it, right, the vast majority of industrial products, if not all, are actually getting digitized and they're getting intelligent, right? So you think about use cases around computer vision, predictive maintenance, proactive maintenance, metaverse. We do a lot of work around metaverse, especially in hazardous environments associated with industrial products. So I think there's definitely one where the digitization of the industrial sector represents the largest opportunity or the biggest opportunity, and some say it's trillions of dollars of opportunity over the next decade. And yeah, I mean, that requires capability that brings together IT, OT, and the product.
And then Sheila, and what I was referring to is the XY dimension, if you will, the pendulum. What we see is a lot of customers doing experimentation with AI and the cloud, and you hear some examples today going in production, but a lot of, for instance, banks that we talk to, your customers, they're building their own AI stacks now on-prem, because it's hard for them to just get solutions out of the box. A lot of it, we call it AI purgatory. It's not my term, but others have used it. You see, I'm sure seeing the same thing. What are you seeing, and how is Hitachi Vantara helping them break through that logjam?
Sure. Yeah, so as you know that there's a massive explosion of data out there, right? And practically, not all of it is going to fit on-prem. And also, doesn't quite fit to all go in the cloud either. So it's inevitable that hybrid cloud is going to be a necessity for like most of the business. So, these cloud transitions are actually quite complex in nature. And this is actually where Hitachi Vantara comes in. We know data. So we're helping our customers, we're showing them how to store, how to move, and how to protect the data while balancing the cost, the performance, and the business objectives, right? And the reason for that is hybrid cloud improves the operations of the business, and it also provides flexibility to run their workloads, whether it's on-prem or like in the cloud. When you have that flexibility, one of the key thing, and data is in the heart of every digital strategy, right, is how to protect it, right? So resiliency becomes key. And I'm proud to say that Hitachi Vantara Solutions guarantees 100% data availability and ransomware protection so that our businesses are secure and running smoothly.
100% is no joke. It's a pretty bold claim. How do you make sure you continue to uphold that? I would imagine you yourself have to be prototyping new technology and staying up to date. What does that process look like internally?
Yeah, so of course, we actually have a very rigorous quality assurance team to ensure that we do the right reliability team. We also have a customer zero program. We actually put our my own IT department through the test on that as well. And then of course, Hitachi Vantara's technology comes from the mainframe business from many, many years ago. We got this down. And we have a history of testimonials from our banks especially that actually can vouch for that too.
So this is a program, a guarantee, what are the details behind that? Or is it just your experience, that's what you're seeing in the field?
It is a program. We guarantee 100% data availability.
And what happens if something goes wrong? What's the?
It never goes wrong.
Yeah, but what's the guarantee? Well, mainframes largely don't go down. You get
Yeah.
that heritage. They actually don't go down.
Well, it actually depends from contract to contract. Our contracts, are actually outcome based. So, there actually are penalties associated with that.
Okay, so you put your money where the mouth is. Okay, cool. Thinking about automation in industry. We hear a lot about GTC. You were there. I wasn't. I was on a boat somewhere. But
thanks for reminding me.
GTC. A lot of talk about robots, and just superficially looking into it, you've got special purpose robots. They do pretty much the same thing every day, all day. They do it very well. Seems like a lot of potential. You said they're getting intelligent, et cetera. And then you see the humanoid robots, seems like maybe further away. Help us understand how you think about automation in the factory, robotics, robots themselves. What's hype, what's real?
Look, I think we do a tremendous amount of work in terms of things like warehouse automation, AGVs, which is automated guided vehicles. That's all real. When it comes to automation of in robotics in a hazardous environment, we do a lot of work. Think about actually oil rigs, where for you to actually do corrosion detection, it's kind of hazardous to actually send somebody out there, not to mention that it's costly. So we use we have software that goes into robots that can actually determine hazardous environments using computer vision, and in some cases take corrective action as well. So all of that stuff is real. Robots taking over the universe, I mean, I'm not the best person to comment on that. I mean, we'll see.
I mean, who really is?
Yeah, but
I feel like we can all equal
I think, when you talk about AI, right, I mean, robots and all of that stuff is just one part of it. There's actually three, fundamental changes and shifts that are happening when it comes to AI, right? The first is AI infused in every product. Like, you always know that AI is in your phones with Siri and all that, but if you think about automotive industry or the broader mobility industry, you talk about the medtech industry, literally every surgical procedure today has AI into it. You image analysis to detect kidney stones, intra-procedural capability. Image analysis to detect cancer during a procedure. So literally there's three elements to AI here that are truly impactful, well beyond the hype about these robots and humanoids and all that stuff. First is AI infused in products. Every product is getting intelligent. The second is, we're in an industry and we're a company that basically builds software. So the way software is getting built and the automation around the end-to-end SDLC, or the software development lifecycle, that's a fundamental shift that's happening, and we're driving that shift, front, back, and center. And the third element is, when I was here last year, the whole talk was 2023 was experimenting with AI proof of concepts, and 2024 was really scaling with AI. Scaling with AI is hard, right? Industrializing AI is hard. So the third element of AI is, how do you build a reliable, responsible, and reusable enterprise stack that allows companies to scale AI across the enterprise? So these three really are the more powerful and more relevant manifestations of AI, as opposed to talk about humanoids running around.
And I feel like number 3 is more of a 25, maybe even 26 type of phenomenon. Would you agree with that? That building that stack is something that's happening right now. Obviously, Google has a stack. They're good at it. The big hyperscalers, they have it. But most enterprises, they don't, for instance, have liquid cooled, data centers. They're, rethinking, cluster management. They're rethinking storage. So, would you agree? And how do you see that playing out in your client base?
Right. So, you're absolutely right. We're seeing that in 2025 and in the foreseeable future. I would want to comment around the AI solutions and the stack of it, right? It is growing massively. It is growing massively. From a study that we did internally, recently, about 80% of those fail, and that's a problem. That's a real problem. Not only from a business standpoint it's a problem, that's a given, but if you take a look at it from a sustainability issue, this puts a lot of pressure on the data centers. It's a problem. It is getting better now. It is slowly getting better, and this is actually where the focus is going to be now in the coming years. So
Hitachi is a company that's always been focused on sustainability. It wasn't.
That's where I was going to take us next. Yeah.
Hitachi never did this because of virtue signaling.
No.
They didn't care who was, in the White House. It was. It was a big, but my question is, why is sustainability a good business?
Why is sustainability a good business?
Why does it make business sense? Yeah.
Well, if you look at it, so you're right, Hitachi has been known for sustainability for 150 years, right? So it's always been in the foundation of our innovation.
Yeah.
That was the vision straight from the start. Now, let's take a look at, as I was saying before, there's a massive explosion of data, there's a high demand of AI solutions, putting tremendous pressure on our data centers. And based on the results of the Department of Energy, US data center consumed 4% of the national electricity and could rise up to 12% by 2028.
That's a very significant number.
If I may, I just want to add to that perspective. Beyond the virtue signaling part that you talked about, sustainability makes absolute business sense in the context of data centers. Let's have some fun with numbers. You talked about 4%, 2%, 4%, whatever you believe, right? There's enough data to say that today, the entire consumption of data centers is about 600 terawatt hours annually. If that doubles to 1200 terawatt hours annually, that's equivalent to about 80 gigawatts of continuous power. 80 gigawatts of continuous power is the power that comes from about 80 nuclear power plants, or the power needs of an entire nation like Argentina. So if we have to feed or address that demand of compute, you cannot have power scaling linearly, because it's going to just strain the entire system.
That's right.
And you cannot generate 80 gigawatts of continuous power with just fossil fuel. That's unsustainable.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely important that we leverage AI to ensure that the needs of that the growth in power generation is non-linear with the growth in compute. And look at history.
Yeah.
When has humanity ever overestimated the need for compute? It's always underestimated the need for compute.
Yeah.
So these numbers probably get blown out of the water anyway.
Yeah, that's why the DeepSeek thing is such a chuckle to
So it's
to
like,
so many of us.
Jensen Huang said that. He mentioned that it's going to be about 100 times the compute need, for a platform like that.
Which is wild to think about, absolutely.
What's going on with Google? What's your relationship with Google? Fill us in on what's new.
Look, last year we announced a strategic partnership with Google, which was a 360 partnership, where GlobalLogic, along with the Hitachi group of companies under the DSS umbrella, would be driving transformation, digital transformation of our clients using and leveraging the Google Cloud ecosystem. So that manifests in many different ways, right? So for example, we've established a Google Cloud business unit within GlobalLogic that now serves all of Hitachi. We've got to a level of partnership status, which is typically deemed as the managed partner status, both in America and in Japan, that allows dedicated support from Google Cloud to be able to serve our clients. If you were to go to our booth and see some of the solutions that we've showcased there, they're actually built on Google Cloud Stack. So really, over the last year, since their announcement, we've really elevated our partnership with Google Cloud significantly from a 360 perspective.
Awesome.
And both sell to, buy from, and sell with. And I'm sure, we've done that at Hitachi Vantara as well.
Yeah. So, look, our customers rely on Google Cloud to actually store and manage the data, and how we help our customers navigate through these complexity of the cloud journey. We actually provide them solutions to be able to seamlessly manage their data across the different environments. So, we actually partner very closely with hyperscalers. Google Cloud is actually one of the top ones that we partner with as well.
Right, so multi-cloud, hybrid cloud.
Yeah,
you guys, you're the glue, the layer, the abstraction layer that makes all that simple.
And we actually help provide recommendation to customers, how to store, how to move, how to prepare the data so that they can optimize their innovation and also being cost effective at the same time.
It's ecosystems. It's what we were talking about. It's ecosystems fueling ecosystems in this particular case with the Google ecosystem and your ecosystem. It's pretty exciting. Final question for y'all, because this has been a blast. When we are here this time next year for Google Cloud Next, what do you hope to be able to say then that you can't yet say today? Srini, I'm going to start with you since you're closest to me.
Humanoids will not take over the world. Right, so I mean, I can think you can rest assured yourself, but more on a more serious note. Look, I think we will have many manifestations of true edge AI use cases that are very value accretive to enterprises. So I talked about 2023 was the year of just experimentation, like throw money at it and let's see what happens. 2024 and to some extent 2025 are the years of industrializing enterprise-grade AI. I think 2026, we're probably going to see good manifestations of value being created, including incredible examples of edge AI use cases in the industrial segment. And we're actually driving a lot of that.
Awesome.
Yep.
Can't wait to share those stories with you. It sounds incredible. Sheila, what about you?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So one of the things about being part of a conglomerate like Hitachi Limited is that we have access to industries that some of our peers in competition don't have. Energy, rail, just to actually name a few.
Great point. Yeah.
So the way I look at it, since we live in the data world, sure, we do a good job managing the data within the box per se. We will do a great job managing the data intelligently using like AI across different environments, on-premise, co-location, public cloud. Now that we can see the data, we can help manage the data, it'd be great to provide AI solutions to those industries. And that is what I actually hope that we can share a year from now.
Great. Well, we really look forward to it. Sheila and Srini, thank you so much for coming on the show today. This has been wonderful and insightful. Dave.
Thank you, Dave and Savannah. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
Anytime.
Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Dave. And thank all of you for tuning in, wherever you might be today. We're here in Las Vegas, Nevada at Google Cloud Next. My name is Savannah Peterson. You're watching theCUBE, the leading source for enterprise tech news.